A few years ago, I was coaching an executive leadership team in crisis. This was for a tech startup whose revenue model essentially collapsed overnight. And they had a very difficult time executing a new revenue model. Now, this was a leadership team that demonstrated a good degree of adaptive capacity. So they were very willing to pivot and change direction as needed. But when we look at organizational resilience, it's more than just having a willingness to adapt. So there are three components of resilience. There's that adaptation or change component, but there's also the ability to persevere. And then there's the ability to cultivate new capabilities in response to that change. So we need all three working together in order to thrive through a setback. If you are constantly bending and swaying and pivoting and doing this in reaction to challenges, that's not necessarily resilience, that's reactivity. So you do need the flexibility. You need to be able to bend with the storms, but the ability to persevere is what keeps you rooted through the storms. And that cultivation piece that I described is while we are rooted and being flexible, we are paying attention to the environment and picking up on the signals and the important signals that let us know what it is that we need to learn from the situation so that we can, when the storm passes, we know how to prevent things like this from happening in the future, or we know how to respond to similar challenges more effectively going forward. So that's the key to organizational resilience. It's not just about having the ability to pivot. It's also knowing what is keeping you from actually sticking with a plan and what's keeping you from acquiring new capabilities in the process. And for this specific leadership team, there was some misalignment internally with regard to how they were defining the organization. So there was some fragmentation around organizational identity, which is why you believe the organization exists to begin with. And if there are four members of a leadership team with four definitions of why the company exists, then it's going to be very, very difficult to stick with a plan because there's a lack of unity or a shared understanding of why we're here to begin with. And so you see that lack of rooting taking place. And so organizational coherence involves there being a balance between the organization's identity, its connection to its environment, and its sense of agency, its ability to act on its goals. And all of those three things need to be in balance in order for it to demonstrate the resilience that I speak about, which is, again, not just being willing to adapt, but being adaptable in a way that is also rooted in your vision, in your goals and your values, while learning and cultivating new capabilities so that when the storm passes, you are stronger as a result.